Bam! It's the Phoenix Wright time. Oh yeah. Good shit. Good shit. Alright. Okay, it's all set up here. Okay. Hey, Piranha. Yes, I know what that means. Try to go easy with the fanfic, okay, though, because I need to read I need to read the game, or else we're not gonna get anywhere. But I'll do what I can. Dun 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 dun. Okay. Dun 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 dun. Okay, everything's set and everything's good. So let's get started. Oh my god, no yawning. I can't be yawning. It's too early to be yawning. Adrian did it? Well, that's what it looks like. Dude, no way! That woman couldn't do anything like that. In court today, there'll be a mountain of evidence that'll implicate you. A mountain of evidence? I'm certain there's someone out there who's trying very hard to pin this whole thing on you. Please, Mr. Lawyer? Dude, like I said yesterday, I'm refreshing like a spring breeze, alright? I can't let any sort of scandal ruin that. I understand. Mia! We must get a complete acquittal today. I know. But I can't focus on my situation. I can't focus on just my situation right now. No, or Pearl's either. No matter what, I have to focus on winning this case by the end of the day. Indeed. Well, let's get going. Oh, it's him. This is Wright. Good morning. This is it, Mr. Attorney. The day of the trial. Maya, she's unharmed, right? Well, when I checked on her earlier this morning, she seemed a bit, how shall we say, tired. Don't worry. People don't die that easily. Besides, what you really should be concentrating on is winning today's trial. For my sake, as well as yours, you must win today's trial. Which is why I sent you a little present this morning. Present? What in the world would you want to give me? You'll figure it out once the trial starts. And even if you don't like my gift, I expect you to graciously accept it and win the day's contest, if you please. Wait! Kidnapper sent me a present? Mr. Lawyer dude? Who was that? No one. It has nothing to do with you, so forget you heard anything. Dude, did your nose just get longer? I'm gonna run out of things for Gumshoe to say when he walks in on you guys. He's just gonna walk in and be like, nope, and just walk right back out the door. Can't get a word in edgewise. Schmack! Court is now in session for the trial of Matt Ungard. Are the prosecuting and defense ready? The defense is ready, Your Honor. I say, Mr. Wright, what happened to Miss Von Karma? I don't know, Your Honor. Why are you getting mad at me? Your Honor! Please be quiet, bailiff. Court is in session. If you must tell me something, please keep it brief. Now then, what is it? Prosecutor Von Karma has... This morning, Miss Von Karma was shot by an unknown gunman. What? Shot? Somehow. I think this is the present that man was talking about. His present? Miss Von Karma is one of the top prosecutors in the country at the moment. If she were to disappear, it would be to your advantage. This is totally insane! Miss Von Karma, is she alright? I don't have that answer. Oh, that's good. What the? What? You're... Edgeworth! Your Honor. Due to the circumstances, Miss Franziska Von Karma will not appear in court today. I, Miles Edgeworth, will be taking her place. The prosecution is ready, naturally. Oh shit! It's edgy! Miss Von Karma was shot in her right shoulder and is currently undergoing surgery. Luckily, I have looked into this case over and am familiar with the details. The prosecution seeks to prove the guilt of Mr. Matt Ungard. The court acknowledges the prosecution. Right. I finally found the answer I was struggling for in my long journey this past year. By the time this case comes to an end, you too will know the answer. Now then, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. Please bring Detective Gumshoe to the witness stand. Witness, your name and occupation. My name's Dick Gumshoe, sir. I'm a detective down at the precinct. For now? After this trial's over, I'm supposed to turn in my badge, sir. Detective Gumshoe. The prosecution has no need for a depressed witness. Lift your head up and face forward like a proud officer, Detective Dick Gumshoe. Well, yes, sir. Now, let's have your testimony. If we want to explore the various facets of this case, we must start with that. Get ready, Phoenix. This is going to be one very rough fight. Yeah. It would have to be with Edgeworth, my opponent. The answer he was struggling for. Interesting. Show me this answer you finally found, Edgeworth. Edgeworth is best boy. Well, this murder happened after the Hero of Heroes Award ceremony, sir. The victim, Juan Corrida, was found dead in his hotel room. After looking into the cause of death, we believe it was definitely murdered, sir. At first, we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. However, we later found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. Could you mention? Oh, and Prana Plant and Maya, stop making out in every place that I try to walk into. I was trying to get a coffee this morning, and they're making out right for the coffee station. I couldn't even get past them. Couldn't even get myself a cup of coffee. After the award ceremony ended, the victim was alone in his room? Yes, sir. Both the victim and defendant went alone to their room, sir. Ah, I see. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Alright, here we go. We gotta save Maya, so everyone needs to be quiet because we gotta save Maya. It's time to save Maya. This murder happened after the Hero of Heroes Award ceremony, sir. Would you please give us a brief timeline of what happened after the ceremony? Okay, pal. The ceremony started at 6 p.m. It ended around 8 p.m., and there was a short break. A special post-ceremony show was supposed to start in the lobby 30 minutes later. And that's when the victim's body was found, correct? Which is to say, the murder occurred during that 30-minute break period. Okay, please continue with your testimony, detective. But the victim, Juan Corrida, was found dead in his hotel room. the person who discovered the victim's body was Adrian Andrews, correct? Yeah. Or who is this Adrian Andrews you're talking about? Well, she's the defendant, Man and God's manager. She's a really pretty lady, sir. Oh, so she's a pretty lady. Oh, I wonder if she will grace us with her presence. When the post-ceremony show was about to start, she went to get Mr. God. After visiting his room, she next went to the victim's room to get him for the show, sir. Oh, I see. And that's when she found the victim's body. After looking into the cause of death, we believe that she was definitely murdered, sir. The cause of death? Wasn't that because Mr. Corita was stabbed in the chest? Only a careless amateur would believe something so brainless as that, pal. Take a good hard look at the crime photo. Now, a real pro's attention would be drawn to this bandana. Bandana? Oh, his bandana, sir. That's the thing that's wrapped tightly around his neck, sir. Oh, yes, I see. Oh, his banana-scented bandana. Then what about the knife? Well, it seems to have been stuck in the victim's chest on purpose, after his death. We have a crafty murderer on our hands here. Juan's autopsy report. Added to the court record. Time of death was 8:15 p.m. Cause? Strangled with a scarf and stabbed with a knife. At first, we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. And why did you think that? Well, because it was empty, pal. The Jammin' Ninja doesn't go anywhere without its bright red guitar. And we couldn't find it anywhere at the scene of the crime. Or then, how about this theory? A fan really wanted the guitar and did the crime to get it. How's that? We thought of that too, but... Well, the only fingerprints on the guitar case were the victims. Only the victims, huh? I see. So much for my theory, then. Guitar case updated. It's empty. There's some water, but only top of the lid bears Corita's fingerprints. However, we later found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. What convinced you it had nothing to do with the case? Well, the guitar wasn't at the Gatewater Hotel that night. Well, then, where was it? The bright red guitar was eventually found at the TV studio. The victim, Juan Corita, had apparently only taken the case with him, sir. So you mean he forgot to put the guitar into the case? Yes, sir. Even when he was on stage for the ceremony, he didn't have his guitar. So that guitar case was empty even before he got to the hotel? Yeah, that's right. So it really had nothing to do with the case after all. I believe that's enough. First, the victim was choked to death with his bandana. Then, after the victim was dead, the killer deliberately stabbed him with a knife. Which brings me to my next point. Why then did the police arrest Martin God? Because there was a reason enough to suspect him. Here it comes. Looks like Edward's back in full swing. Very well, Detective Gumshoe, please testify about this matter. Yes, sir. Matt and God and Juan Corita were huge rivals with each other. They each thought the other guy was in his way, and that motive was enough in my book. As for the evidence, there's the Jammin' Ninja's button. It was ripped off the ninja costume and found in Mr. Ungod's hakama. The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. So the defendant's fingerprints were found in the knife used in the stabbing? It was sort of sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came out pretty clearly, sir. Knife bears the victim's blood and Unguard's fingerprints. In the grip, Gatewater's engraved. And there's this button. That was found on the defendant's clothes, huh? And is this button also covered in blood? Yes, and we know that the blood on it is the victim's blood, sir. What? Jammin' Ninja's button was ripped from his costume. It's covered in Corita's blood, found in Unguard's hakama. The entire testimony must be mentioned in the cross-examinations of the kissing of me and Maya. Make sure Phoenix says hold it. I'm not going to do that. People watching in the future are not going to know what the hell's going on. I already did a gumshoe for you. So that's it for now. Until the next part that you write. That's not related to the testimony. Officer points very clearly to the defendant, doesn't it? People watching this future are going to be confused as fuck. Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honor. Ready to give it in yet, right? I'll find a hole in your argument somehow. You can press as hard as you like. Just hurry up with your usual pointless questions. Plus, I'm going to be streaming Layers of Fear later, so I'm going to try to get through as much of this case as possible, because I want you guys to see this case, because it's so good. Matt and God and Juan Corrida were huge rivals with each other. But in terms of popularity, Mr. Engard won, did he not? Yeah, but you know what's ironic, pal? Juan Corrida was always one step behind Mr. Engard in everything. This year it seemed like he'd finally caught up, ready for the big final showdown. But Mr. Corrida lost the Grand Prix in the end. Ah, that's too bad. He must have been pretty downhearted after losing. They each thought the other guy was in his way. That's motive enough in my book. Wait, just 1 second here. Mr. Engard was beating Mr. Corrida in the popularity polls. Well, yeah, I guess, but... Which means that in the defendant's eyes, the victim was not a rival at all. Which means that he had no motive to kill at all. Schmack! Well, yeah, I quite agree. Well, detective? It's not... Well, I guess if you put it that way, then yeah, the defendant would have had no motive. Detective, I'm beginning to see why you were fired. No, not you too, Mr. Edwards, sir, that's... I look forward to your pension negotiations. No! Well, now, detective, let's continue with testimony. No, not my poor pension, too. Detective, if you value your money, I suggest proceed. Yes, sir. We can talk about my pension later, sir. What about what I was saying? Hello? Anyone? As for evidence, there's the Jammin' Ninja's button. Do you have any proof that the button belonged to the victim? What do you mean, pal? Let me put it this way. I'm asking you if you have any evidence to back up your claim that this button was ripped off the Jammin' Ninja's costume. Huh? But can't you tell just by looking at it? And the victim's blood is on it. Anyone could have smeared that blood on there afterward. Mr. Edgeworth, help me, sir. Alright, I knew it had to be this piece of evidence. Now to reel this one in. Thread. Huh? The button was attached to the costume by thread, obviously, and that thread snapped when the button was torn off. If you match up the ends of the thread on the costume with the thread on the button, it is a perfect match. Yeah, that's it! They're a perfect match, pal! Oh, that's Edgeworth for you. Never misses a beat. It was ripped off the ninja's costume and was found in Mr. Engard's Hakama. When was this button found? Pretty soon after the body was found, we rounded up everyone who knew Mr. Corrida. And then we did a search on them all, and that's when we found the button. So it was almost immediately after the murder. The police didn't have the free time to lollygag and play tricks, unlike some people. Hey, what's he trying to say about me here? The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. How were the fingerprints arranged on the knife? Huh? What do you mean, pal? By examining the fingerprints, you can determine how the defendant held the knife. For example, did he hold it normally or overhand? Oh, is that what you meant? Well, we didn't actually think of that. I can't believe the bumbling of this apartment. Hopeless. Were you paying attention to the testimony, right? The defendant's fingerprints were all over the knife. There's no way to determine how the knife was held at the moment of the murder. Alright, so is the defendant the owner of this knife then? Well, the defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. There's no way that this was a premeditated murder, even if he bought the knife. Sorry, pal, this isn't some pocket knife. It doesn't fold, so it's not great for walking around with either. Well, this is not good. If the prosecution can prove that it was premeditated murder, we're done for. Phoenix? Yes. There's something very interesting about what the detective just said now. Think carefully before it's too late. A button covered in the victim's blood, and a knife with Lingard's fingerprints. Be grateful. If the judge were more rash, he would have already pounded his gavel in closing. We're still in a world of trouble. Well, before any battle, you must find your enemy's weakness. So, let's find the weakness in his testimony, no matter how small it may be. Okay, Phoenix? Yeah, if you guys even remember from yesterday, when Phoenix was looking at the dinner plates for Adrian and Ungard, he's like, huh, there's something really weird about this plate. Well, one of the plates had a fork and a knife. The other plate just had a fork. So, it's not premeditated murder, because that was the knife he was using to eat his dinner. I don't know how I'm going to prove that, but that's definitely what we're going to try to do. Also, if this is premeditated, why would he have been strangled with a scarf? I know the stuff that I have to show. I just need to know how to show it. Dun, dun, dun. This... okay, okay, it has to be this one. If I show the knife, this knife was for dinner. Can I show it without getting exploded?
Objection!
Oh. Oh. Wait a second. Well, what? So the basis of your argument that this was a premeditated murder is simply that my client bought a knife beforehand? Plus it says Gatewater on it. That's right, pal. The defendant did not buy this knife. Huh? I didn't think it could be that simple. Take a good look at the handle of this knife, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Huh? Oh, it has a Gatewater shield set onto the handle. Gatewater? Oh, I think I've heard that name somewhere before. That's the name of the hotel. The Gatewater Hotel. Oh! The murder knife was actually property of the hotel, which means that this murder was not premeditated. Schmack! Well, yeah, that's very true. This is very big. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless. What? It's good to have him back. Yay, play that song. Play that Edgeworth song. It's so good. I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined. How so? I admit that this knife is hotel property. There is no one currently on the police force that is dumb enough not to realize this. But I didn't... The question is, where did this knife come from? Why, that's obvious. It came from the victim, Mr. Carina's room. Sorry, Your Honor, but that is incorrect. The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I would like to draw the court's attention to what is on top of the table. What is a knife and fork on the table? Then, Where in the world did that come from? If it pleases the court, I would like for us to recall the room of the defendant, Mr. Mattengard. Especially what was on top of the table. There's something missing. Perhaps it is a single knife. We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Mattengard's knife was missing. Oh. Mr. Angad had gone to the victim's room with the knife he had been using during dinner. Why would he carry a knife on a visit? To kill, of course. And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was a premeditated murder. Smack! Holy shit, Mr. Edgeworth, absolutely brilliant. A brilliant, clear deduction. Seems like Edgeworth had this planned from the very beginning. This must be one of those traps, and I just walked headlong into it. Smack! A murder weapon with fingerprints and a button from the victim's costume? Oh, there's quite a sizable amount of evidence here. I can safely say that any further deliberation is a waste of your owner's time. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown? He means evidence that the court hasn't seen yet. In other words, new evidence. What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright? Well, Phoenix, the judge is favoring the prosecution right now. If we answer with something wrong here, that gavel of his is going to be ringing out the sound of their feet. Mr. Wright, do you have something important and necessary to present to this court? The killer sends his search history to the defendant on accident. I said, whoa, what's this? I don't know what this is. Let me call my manager and ask her what it is. I mean, I do. I have to say I do, I think. There's one piece of evidence that catches my attention. Something that this court has yet to see. It must be the wine glass. Mr. Wright, I will say this one more time. I do not feel this trial needs to continue at all. However, I'm giving you one chance, and only one. What the judges say, Wright, is don't try pulling one of your usual bluffs here. If I mess this up, it's curtains for all. Oh my god. I think this is one of the few times where the penalty is my entire bar. Because that happens sometimes. Oh god, it is! You may now present one and only one piece of evidence. Now then, what is this important evidence that you must show to the court? Oh my god, the penalty! Forget the clown's penalty. This is much, much worse. I'm gonna stake it all on the wine glass because that's the only thing, that's the evidence. Because they kept pointing out, why is everything smashed to bits but the wine glass is still there? This has to be it. There's nothing else I could actually show that would have to do with anything. The wine glass is the only thing in the... Unless it's a guitar case. No, they talked about the guitar case already. This is the only thing that they haven't talked about yet. So... take that! Oh, I peed a little. This is a wine glass? Is it not? Please look at the photo of the crime scene one more time. The scene is a mess because of the victim's struggle against his assailant. The vase was broken, his makeup's all over the floor. These were all things that were at one point sitting on top of the dresser. Well, yes, well, I see your point. However, this glass that's just sitting on top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. The only thing that had not fallen over, along with everything else, is this wine glass. This piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration. Well, what do you all have to say? Yes, it is a little peculiar. Yes, isn't it? I thought it was. You can stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours now. Mr. Edwards? What is it, Your Honor? Your opinion. You don't need my opinion. Because there's no special meaning to that glass. What? It's safe to say that the glass was set there after the crime took place, by the person who discovered the body, Adrian Andrews, for example. She could have easily been so shocked as to shut the glass down without thinking. Oh, well, that does sound very plausible, Mr. Wright. Could Miss Andrews really have set that glass down without thinking? I'm gonna say no way. If I appear weak here, the trial's over. I can look for my proof later. For now, I should trust my instinct and point with certainty. They might just fall for it if you're thought-provoking enough. Yeah. The defense would like to challenge the prosecution's theory. We would like to see something that proves it was Miss Andrews who set the cup on the table. What? Oh, you turned the situation on its head, yet again, as usual. Mr. Edward, do you have any proof to back up your claim? There's no way he has any. He's just bluffing. Unlike Mr. Wright, I never say anything unless I have the evidence to support it. What? You're not thinking hard enough today, Wright. Did you think that this wine glass escaped my notice? Well, then... Of course it has been thoroughly inspected for fingerprints. Fingerprints. There were only one set of fingerprints left on this wine glass. Only one? What? Whose were they? They were not the victims nor the defendants. Rather, they were of one Adrian Andrews. What? Oh no, wine glass updating court record. That is why I said the person who discovered the body had left it there. Are we done here, Mr. Wright? Ugh, I can't believe I fell into another trap! Miss Andrews was probably holding the glass when she went to go see Mr. Corrida. But upon seeing his dead body, she was stunned and set the glass on the dresser. What you said makes a lot of sense. Tisk. Now do you see, Wright? You can't change any part of my scenario, as it explains everything all too well. I've thought long and hard about this past year what it meant to be a prosecutor. And from here on out, I will show you the answer I've come to discover. Wait a second, Mr. Edgeworth. I think the prosecution has provided enough evidence for me to enter my verdict. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. The prosecution has yet another witness that we would like the court to hear from. Another witness? Yes. Bailiff, please bring in the next witness. What in the world is Mr. Edgeworth thinking? He's helping us. He's fucking helping us. They're not even in this. They're not even in this case, Piranha. I can't even do that. Gant's in jail. Emma's somewhere. And Marshall's probably at the police station. I don't know. He'd probably be something like, hold up there, cowboy. This is mighty fine. Or something. Emma would be like, this search history, I have to examine it with evidence. And Gant did that thing that he does when he just stares at the screen for a while. That's all he does. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. Oh God, it's old bag. No, I don't want to read old bag. Oh, no, I don't want to read old bag. Witness, your name and occupation, please. Gotcha! I wonder what happened to that calm composure he had earlier.
Oh, Itchy boy! Oh, it's been what, a year since we last met, hasn't it? You should be more happy to see me.
I saw the report with her testimony, but who knew that under that helmet? Who was the wicked witch of the witness stand?
Oh, I tell you, this time, I know what I'm supposed to do. So today, I'm going to tell you anything and everything. Even things that don't have to do with that terrible crime. Miss Witness, that terrible crime is all this court needs to know. Oof! Shush! I'm talking to my dear Itchy Wedgie right now. Don't interrupt us, Gramps. Yes, ma'am?
No. Please, by all means, interrupt her. Please! Anyway, Witness, your testimony, please.
It's true what they say. Now youth are hot-headed nowadays. Not that I mind at all, edgy. Now then, what should I start with?
The witness was on security detail in the hotel the night of the murder. This is correct, Miss Oldbag.
It was a great job being able to see my dearie Juan. It was almost too much for my little heart to handle.
You mean you were a fan of the victim?
Look, everyone's crazy over that, and God, saying he's cute in a fresh way or something, but not me. I wouldn't say something so silly. After all, I have no interest in a little child like him. I'm only interested in a real man, Juan Corrida.
But those two were the same age.
Anyway, as I was saying, I was pacing in front of that room that night.
Very well. Please tell the court what you witnessed the night of the murder.
Leave it to me, Edgy Boo.
Don't call me that. Filthy, disgusting witness.
Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around the hallway in front of his room. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time. That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room. It was on guard, mad on guard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room.
Oh, so Mr. Ungard came out from the victim's room.
See, it has to be him. He's the murderer.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Man, if Von Karma was here, this trial would have been over. So I'm really glad Edward's here. Because he knows. He knows. Well, he doesn't know about Maya. But he wants the truth. That's what he found. That's his answer.
Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room.
Miss Oldbag, what was your post on that night?
The lobby. I was supposed to set up the stage for that trifling show. But I refused to help. I'll have you know, it was for that lead-headed samurai show. Heh, even I took a few out of the... I even took a few...
Oh my god.
I even took out a few of the nails.
Maybe it was a good thing the show didn't go on?
Besides, that manager with the glasses seemed like she was to be working hard at it without me. So I thought I'd take a break and spread my wings a little.
And that's when you went to hang around the victim's door.
There was something I was interested in finding out, you know.
Whoops. Something you were interested in. And just what was that?
It's not some little thing I can just go around telling everyone, you know. It's top secret between me and Juan. And Edgy Poo, of course. Mr. Edwards, what is the thing that she was interested in?
I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor. Gossip? But should it prove relevant, we can always have it appended to a testimony later. Looks like we should enforce it right now.
And did the witness stay in the vicinity of the victim's door the entire time? Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time.
Oh, then would you tell us the number of people who went in and out of Mr. Corrida's room?
I have no idea. I wasn't born so I could count things for those who didn't pay attention in class. That's why ever since I turned 20, I quit keeping track of how old I really am. Or yes, well, that would explain why your age was not included in the report.
In any case, the witness then saw someone, correct?
That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room.
Who in the world was that?
I'm not allowed to say. This sort of information has to be carefully guarded from the masses, Sonny. The man that came out of Juan's room, he was... Yes, he was? Oh, I'm too scared. I can't say his name out loud.
Oh my god, what I wouldn't give that Francisca's whip right about now.
Well, I guess I could tell you since he was such a bad boy anyway. It was in guard, man in guard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room.
You saw my client? Are you sure about that?
Yesy.
Really?
Annoying brat. When I say yes, also when I saw that person.
Why do I get a sense of deja vu? Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should delve into this a bit further. Let's ask about... Oh, why would you even put any kind of old bag RP in there? Why would you even? I don't want to read old bag. Crap. This is crap. Why does this have to happen? Why does old bag have to be the witness? Ugh. True. Okay. Let us think. Let us big brain. I'm gonna say this because of the fucking button. Please tell the court about the man's clothes in more detail.
What a troublesome man you are, really, as if something like that matters.
But it does.
Now what was it? Oh, yes, it was that thing.
What thing?
Well, that gaudy thing he's always wearing, that racing jacket.
Oh, shit. He was wearing that at the detention center, too.
That thing's meant for nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Men.
Right. Show Mr. Wright. Wait, if he was wearing that, he wasn't in costume, so they could have put in the button in his Hakama because he wasn't wearing his Hakama.
Was your testimony just now important or...
Yeah, it was very important. Of course it was important, Your Honor. Then perhaps you would like to point out what part of the testimony was important. Don't you see it, Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request what the witness said about the jacket be appended to her testimony, so I can slam her face in it.
I don't see where you're going with this, but all right, witness, please. Well, I don't like to badmouth anyone without a reason, but if I must... He was wearing his flashy racing jacket. Honestly, it's all just for show.
Ah! Slap you in the face with this button. Miss Oldbag.
What? Don't say my name for no reason.
Do you know what this is?
Ah, it's button number 2 on the Jammin' Ninja's costume.
Okay, now I know she's an obsessed fan. She identified it in a single glance.
Give it here. Give it here. If you don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this.
Wow, she really is a diehard fan to want a button covered in blood. This button was discovered on Mr. Ungard's body during a full-body search.
See? This button proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was that rascal Ungard.
It was caught up in the pleats of his Nickel Samurai Hakama pants.
See? And Ungard is the Nickel Samurai.
Witness? Now, it may just be me, and I do have an active imagination, but just now didn't you just say that the defendant, Man Ungard, was wearing his usual racing jacket?
I'm so sorry. Sorry that you judge people based on what they wear. If I wore the trendiest dress, then maybe you...
Oh, no. God damn it.
Smack! Now hold your tongue still just for 1 second. So what you saw in actuality was not Mr. Ungard the man, but Mr. Ungard the Nickel Samurai? But when you think about it... Smack! They're really one and the same anyway.
Miss Oldbag, this is a very important point we're talking about.
Etty Poo, don't you think so too?
Well, it might be something worth considering. Just say it's important and agree with me for a change.
Smack! Witness, think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify. All right, if you insist.
I should be the one sighing, not you.
On guard. Yes, now I remember. The Nickel Samurai. That's right. It was the Nickel Samurai that I saw. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. He had to go to the post-stage ceremony show right after the crime, you know. So he must have worn the Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan.
Why does Oldbag have to be the witness? Why? This is horrible. Don't want Oldbag to be the witness. Why does Oldbag have to be the witness? Yeah, that's Edgeworth inside. I knew it. I knew you'd say he was inside the costume. Stupid bitch, you're doing the same thing as you did in the very first game.
Did you think that there could have been someone else inside that costume? Don't be a little bad boy thinking such rude things.
But the possibility does exist.
Youngins today, I told you there was no way it was anyone else.
How did you know that?
Because I said so, and what I say is the truth.
At least she's just as delightful a witness as she was a year ago. Alright, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Do I have to, Your Honor? Do I have to? Oh, I have to, for Maya. Shit.
On guard. Yes, now I remember.
Would you please get on with your testimony?
What's your language, young man? What sort of tone is that to take with an elder? My youthfulness isn't what it used to be, so you should forgive me for everything. If you keep on barking at me like that, I'll start singing at the top of my lungs.
Oh, God, what?
A striking figure by the sea, standing all alone is he. He is the Nickel Samurai.
Oh, she's actually singing. Someone help my poor ears!
Mr. Edwards, can you please do something about this racket?
Witness, I'll give you a piece of gum later if you're good, and just stick to the facts.
Okay! You promise, right?
Right, I'll be sending the bill for the chewing gum to your office at a later date. Remind me to send you a thank you note later too, Edgeworth, old chum.
The Nickel Samurai, that's right, it was the Nickel Samurai that I saw.
Be a little more careful with your testimony, please. Not too long ago, you said he was wearing his racing jacket, and now he is not?
Not too long ago? Let me ask you this, when you were an itty-bitty, what was your grand dream?
Huh?
What did you want to be when you grew up, whippersnapper?
My dream, huh? Well, I wanted to be Judge Wagner of the hero of the Public's Court. So what?
See? And look where you are now. You're not Judge Wagner, are you? Are you?
Well,
what I said earlier. Who puts any weight into things like that? The now is everything. I can't be held responsible for the past.
Since when did court become theatrics over testimonies?
All that matters is that that man was inside the costume. Isn't that enough?
God, I hate her. I hate her so much. Yes, I got a trophy. Why is I got a trophy for Judge Wagner? Why did I get a trophy for Judge Wagner? Is it like it's because it's a reference to Judge Wagner from People's Court? I don't understand. Why did I get a trophy? Why did Oldbag give me a trophy? I don't want it. Somebody take this trophy away.
Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder.
And why would that be?
Well, that way no one could see his face, of course.
But there's still no advantage for him that I can see. In fact, you would think that the costume would make him stand out all the more.
You're such an annoying child, you know that? You disagree with everything I say.
Isn't that what you're always doing to me?
I got it. Maybe it was more troublesome for him to change in out of his costume. He had to go to that post-stage ceremony show after the crime, you know.
Was there anyone else scheduled to appear in the post-ceremony show?
Well, all the contestants were supposed to go on stage in a friendly gesture thing.
And that included the Jammin' Ninja?
Well, of course it included him. That's why when God came out of Juan's room, I didn't give it a second thought. Oh, I see. Well, anyway. So he must have worn the Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan.
So let me ask you one more time. The person you saw, it really was the Nickel Samurai?
Well, as showy as ever. Haven't I been saying that from the very beginning?
Can I throw in the towel yet? You don't need to think too hard on this one. Huh? There's a contradiction in your testimony, and it's sitting in plain sight. The question is, what that contradiction means for us. Well, I have to figure out what you're talking about first, but okay. What is it? Let's see. Nickel Samurai. That's not Nickel Samurai. For him to wear his costume during the murder, he had to go to the first stage show right after the crime. Oh! If he was wearing the costume, he would not have left any fingerprints. Because I'm quite sure. I don't think I'm a pic. Yes. Yeah, the Nickel Samurai wears gloves. You stupid goddamn bitch. Okay, yeah. You dumb bitch! Please take a look at this.
Yeah, so it's a knife. Big deal. If you're trying to scare me with that, I'll have you know it won't work.
No, it's not my intention. Oh.
Or that's the knife that was used in the murder, correct?
Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important to this case?
You don't even have to ask it because the defendant's fingerprints are on it.
Is that what you're driving at? That is exactly what I'm driving at.
What are we driving at, and whose car are we driving?
If Mr. Engar was... God damn it, Judge. If Mr. Engar was really in the Nickel Samurai costume at the time of the murder, then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on this knife. Actually, he would have wiped all previous fingerprints on this knife right off.
Smack! Oh, that's right. The Nickel Samurai wears gloves, doesn't he?
He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. And why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon? There's no way he would do something like that. However, there is one possibility. Then let's hear your possibility. It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume as the Nickel Samurai. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Which is why he took his gloves off.
But the murder still did take place.
It's well known that there was bad blood between the defendant and the victim.
Well, yes, I've heard that before. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. Edwards' theory?
So let me get this straight. Edwards' theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intention of killing him. Now, up to this point, are there any problems with his theory? Are there any problems with this? Okay, let's think. He had no intent to murder. Grabs gun, shoots all bag, aims gun at judge, say not guilty, or you're gonna be. It reminds me of that. It reminds me of that meme with the piranha plant with the gun, and it's like, say psych right now. That's what I see every time that you do that, and that makes me happy because I like that meme. Judge is like, you're guilty of murder, and you pull out the gun, you're like, say psych right now. Judge is like, psych,
just kidding.
Not guilty. Please don't kill me. See, I said psych. And then you put the gun down. Okay, any problems at the point? Okay, back to the case. Damn it. Back to the case. So, okay, Edgeworth. They had no intention of murder. Unless it was this? Could it be the ticket? Could it be the magic ticket? I don't know if it could be the magic ticket. It doesn't seem like that's about right. There is a contract. Let's see the contract. What? This theory contradicts something in an earlier testimony. What are you blabbing about? Now, for argument's sake, let's suppose that Mr. Ungard was the killer. If that's the case, then I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent, because the knife, right? To show the knife again? Use the same evidence twice in a row? Is that gonna work? Shit, it worked. This knife, this was used by Mr. Ungard at dinner. Yes, we did establish that. Which means that if my client was, in fact, the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Kurita. I suppose. However, you just said it yourself. At the time, the defendant held no intention to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, that your theory was flawed from supposition 1. And one more thing! If the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means that the defendant's fingerprints shouldn't be all over it like bees on a hive. And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us.
Smack, smack, smack! Order! Order, I say! Order in the court! Was this knife really planted by the killer? Or why would the murderer do such a thing?
To frame Matt and guard? I'm gonna assume. That's pretty much what we're all trying to prove here. It's to frame my client, Mr. Ungard, of course. To frame... aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one? But we just established that the witness saw the Nickel Samurai in costume. And if that were true, then there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife. Ugh. Witness!
Looks like I made your life a teeny bit more difficult, huh, Edgy Poo?
Witness, did you or did you not really see the Nickel Samurai?
Well, I guess at first I might have forgotten, but
Are you saying you mix up Mr. Ungard with the Nickel Samurai, his character on TV?
I mean, I can't really do anything about that now. Look, I was waiting around in front of the doors because, well, I wasn't waiting around for the Nickel Samurai, that's for sure.
Wait a second. She wasn't waiting for the Nickel Samurai. Alright, then who were you waiting around for then?
That's top secret to anyone outside security. I have a feeling that you were waiting for Mr. Juan Corrida. Am I correct, witness? The way you think, you are a sad amateur with a terrible case of nearsightedness. Amateur? Me? What am I an amateur of?
So Oldback was waiting around in front of the victim's room. But it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Corrida. Maybe, Phoenix, maybe the old bag was waiting around for that person. If it's who I think Mia's hinting at, it's certainly possible. Miss Oldbag, you were waiting for this person to come out of the victim's room, weren't you? If it wasn't Juan and it wasn't Ungard, I'm gonna assume it's Adrian. Because Oldbag loves Juan Corrida, and she probably would have hated the fact that he was seeing Adrian. So, I'm gonna try. I mean, who else would it be?
Who is this person?
Well, this is Adrian Andrews, Mr. Ungard's manager.
But why would the defendant's manager be in the victim's room?
It seems that this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor.
Okay.
The judge seems to be really into the article, if it can be called such a thing.
What, in this manager with the initials AA? Are you saying it's...
Adrian Andrews. Without a doubt, the witness thought so as well.
Looks like you found me out. Well, that's fine. I can throw away this whole sworn to confidentiality stuff then. Witness? What in the world are you...
Watch out, Phoenix. I've got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling.
I got some information, some very secret information from a certain source. So that's why I was doing my own little investigation. In secret, of course. But what for? Oh, just for myself. Personal reasons and all that.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how will you proceed from here? I really don't want to do this. However, I cannot simply let this point slide.
I see. Very well then, witness, please testify about this secret information. Get ready! This is gonna take the wind out of you youngins!
I'm sure we're all capable of handling this. Really, it's not like we're 10 years old. God, I want her to be done.
That Ngod is one evil, evil man! He thought he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal! So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan. I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Oh, and this is top secret. You got that? Nobody else but you and me know yet, okay?
The defendant sent his manager? What a distasteful topic for this court!
What? Nobody's above gossip! And isn't there a saying? The truth is never pleasant.
Never heard that one before.
Mr. Edwards, what about this Adrian Andrews person?
We have looked into this matter and found that the truth the article proposes is in fact a baseless gossip.
But should this be true, then this proves that the defendant did bear ill will towards their victim.
So this means I have to smash this rumor once and for all.
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness.
Be careful. The old bag seems rather excited right now.
That's right! Ngod is nothing but your average foul-blooded youth!
Well, as the old saying goes, you gotta burn old bags with fire. Time to fire up the afterburners and hit the highway to the danger zone. Highway to the danger zone.
That Ngod is one evil, evil man.
You can't say something like that without proof. That's just slander.
But it's true. That woman was getting intimate with poor Juan. Look, it says it right here, doesn't it? Manager to the stars, Miss AA.
But the name of the magazine this came from is Gossip Land.
What? Are you saying that gossip is all just a pack of lies? What do you know? I suppose next you'll swear to me that the news is 100% truth. Honestly, Sonny, you can't discriminate between the news and gossip. Oh yeah, discrimination is bad, Mr. Wright.
Discriminate? When did I do anything like that?
Anyway, Ngod would never get me to say touche.
You missed it. I did read it. I made a whole point about the piranha plant psych meme. I already talked about it.
He thought that he could ruin poor Juan by causing a huge scandal.
Scandal? What do you mean by that?
Well, you're a dim-witted one, aren't you? I can't believe you don't know what a scandal is. Honestly, what are they teaching kids in middle school these days?
No, I wasn't asking what the word scandal means. Even I know that much.
Well, that Ngod thought he could own a monopoly of popularity. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with Juan.
You don't have any proof that Mr. Ngod did any such thing.
You must be suffering from shock, the shock of hearing the truth. And now since you're in so much shock, you can't do anything right now.
You're right, I can't do anything, but boy, do I wish I could do something about you.
All right then, Sonny, show me what you got. Can you show me proof that Ngod didn't bear any ill will towards Juan?
Is this my chance? Is this my chance? How many seconds ago was that? I don't even know. It was a while ago. I don't know if you were gone, but yeah, I made a whole point about the piranha plant meme when he has the gun and he's like, say psych right now. And I laughed about it because that's what it reminded me of. There's this whole thing I talked about. I'm not doing it again. I don't remember when it was. It was probably before her test and testimony. I typically will read your comments at the beginning or ends of the testimony, so It's gonna be somewhere around there, I think. I have no idea. I've been reading. Anyways, okay, so with this proof that Unguard didn't bear any ill will. I'm not gonna let you push me around that easily.
There's many a man who said those exact words and paid dearly for them.
Well, maybe you should brace yourself this time. Here's my proof that Mr. Unguard did not hold any ill will towards the victim. Oh boy. Oh boy, what have I done? Oh boy. Oh boy. I have no idea. Fuck it. I'm gonna look it up because I have no. Let me see. Pull up my FAQ. I don't want a penalty. I don't care if it's a small penalty. I don't want a penalty. I don't want it. I don't think any of these could fit, but why would it give me the chance to present if I could? Present Lotta's camera? What? What does that have to do with anything?
Is that it? You can take it from here, Edgy Poo.
What are you handing it over to me for?
So you can give it that jagged-headed baboon boy a message for me, please. Tell him that no matter what he does, the only thing he's good at is failing.
What she said, right? Or should I say, baboon boy?
Oh, what? What the facts and present the case?
Did I read the wrong part? Oh no. Oh. I got a penalty anyways. I tried to cheat and I still got the penalty. Oh, that's what I get. That's what I get.
I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action.
So, what do you mean by I took action?
Like I already told you, I was lying in wait close to the crime scene. Once that slimy woman came out of Juan's room, I was gonna capture her and teach her a good lesson. Something you youngins need. You were gonna teach her a lesson? I was gonna make her eat the damaging beams of my ray gun. Like this. No, stop! Well, it was too bad that woman didn't come through the door that night. Oh, and this is top secret. You got that? Nobody else but you and me know yet, okay?
Oh, this is probably where I present Lotta's camera then. Okay, or not. Fine. You know what? Fine!
Wait. What? I'm a busy woman. Tea time with the kids is over.
Secret information that no one else yet knows? If that's true, then how do you know this secret information?
Huh? Well, that's because I'm a bro. Yes, that's it.
No, Lotta told her the information.
It's a secret. Even if you drill the hole into my brain, you'd never find out.
How in the world did that old bag get such a secret? Yeah, oh my god. Not to do Lotta's camera? No one else is supposed to know the secret information, correct? Well, if that's true, then why do you know it, Ms. Oldbag?
What are you looking at me like that for? Stop that!
Witness! I hate to say it, but I'm gonna use the fucking camera! Finally, the investigative photographer, Lotta Hart.
Oh, yeah. I remember that mischievous girl.
She reported that she had lost a certain note she had written to herself.
She reported such a thing?
Well, on that piece of paper, she had written down some of her outrageous impressions.
A
about the relationship between the victim and Miss Andrews.
What? What? Outrageous ideas, you say?
No, I said impressions.
Then everything written on this piece of paper is completely meaningless?
That's it. That's the note.
No! You see, this is something completely different. This is my top secret list of groceries to buy.
Then you are the one who took Miss Hart's note?
I'm a huge fan of Juan's, but that's why that infamous puffy-haired whippersnapper, she's working with that evil Ungard. She said so herself. Ungard, I'm his psychic. She was so happy, smiling like a silly duck. I was only checking what she had written. Edgy Pooh! You believe me, don't you? I was only trying to help out like that little angel that I am. It's only one little piece of paper. I've never taken anything else before.
You really should come with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine.
Got him! Well, it was only a piece of paper. I suppose we can overlook it. Just this once.
She looks like she's really sorry. Should I forgive her? Fuck you. If I let up on her now, she'll get away. I have to find some way to inflict a deafening blow to the prosecution. Witness, you said that the only thing that you stole was that note. Is this correct?
Stole? Why don't you listen more carefully, you annoying brat? I saved this piece of paper from a terrible, lonely trash can, that's all.
You're lying, damn it, and I can prove it.
Or are you putting my credibility under scrutiny again?
Miss Oldbag, I don't believe that the note is the only thing that you stole that night because the note was inside Lotta's camera. Miss Oldbag, that note was with a camera inside its case, wasn't it? A camera? Yesterday, Lotta Hart was raising a huge stink over her camera. She kept saying something like, "My sweet $1,600 camera disappeared on me."
What? Witness! What is it, Gramps?
If you have the note, then it's only logical that you have the camera too!
Looks like you found me out again, Sonny. Is this the camera you've been looking for?
That's...
What? Even though I look like it, I'm still a person, you know. I still eat meals like you. I still fall in love and borrow things from people. I think your definition of borrow is a little off. I saw that woman's business card, and that's when I noticed it said Slime Bag Celebrity Photographer Extraordinaire. Well, when I saw that, I had to know what sort of picture she had taken. I'm a professional security guard. It's my business to know these things. Smack! Bailiff! Check the camera's photos. Hurry! We must examine them at once.
Piranha, I said I don't know. It was a long time ago.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do we have?
There's only one photo that seems to be relevant to this case.
Please, present it to the court. This is the Nickel Samurai. See, I told you, that's the guy I saw. Well, this proves that the witness was not lying earlier about this matter.
Lotta's picture added to the court record.
What does it all mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
This photo by itself does not prove that the person in it is the defendant. However, it is his own confession. Mr. Ungod clearly stated that at the time of the murder, he was still in his Nickel Samurai costume.
Well, if that's the case, then this Nickel Samurai is
the defendant.
Smack! Well, how did it come to this? I think this brings us to the end. We have examined every piece of evidence thoroughly. Final comments, Mr. Wright? The court will consider this before we close. Do you agree that this photo is decisive evidence against your client?
What the fuck? No! If this photo really is decisive, then we're done for. But if I raise an objection here and blow it, it would put my life in jeopardy. I can't make a mistake here. There's only one road out of this mess. This photo that Lotta took, there's something strange with it. There's something strange with this photo. I knew this was coming, right?
Your thoughts, Mr. Edgeworth?
I think we can all agree that there's nothing strange with this photo. There's no way for the defense to debunk this photo, even with the bunker buster.
Debunk with a bunker buster? Is that what you're planning to do, Mr. Wright?
Anyway, please look at the photo one more time.
If you really believe you can honestly find something wrong with this photo, then you should only need one chance, correct?
Well, I have to find something wrong with this photo. Where in the heck did she take this photo from anyway? It's all out of focus. Why can't she take a good shot, especially when it counts?
Smack! Well, now then, let's hear your objection. What about this photo is strange?
Da 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 da. I would like to direct the court's attention to this one area right here. Look at the feet. Look at the feet. You can't see the feet, can you?
What are you pointing at? His ankles?
Well, if you could see this person's ankles, then that would be one thing. However, you can't.
And what does that mean?
The costume person in this photo could not have been Mr. Unguard.
What is the meaning of this?
I wonder if you would care to elaborate with actual facts, that is. Let's take a look at the Nickel Samurai's poster. Please pay particular attention to the area around the bottom of the hakama.
His socks? Oh, you can see his socks?
Exactly. However, in this photo, the Nickel Samurai is clearly holding his hakama up just to walk. There is only one explanation for this. The person inside this costume is clearly much shorter than the defendant.
Smack, smack, smack!
All right. I think I've turned things around for myself this time. That's curious. Huh? What is? Edgeworth is unusually calm today. That's true. He's just letting the trial run itself, as if he's only along for the ride. Along for the ride? What do you mean by that? I can only guess that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all. He doesn't feel under attack? Then I haven't damaged his case at all?
Smack! Mr. Edgeworth, what does this leave us? Well, if the person in this photo is not Vanguard, then everything the prosecution has tried to prove has become meaningless.
I figured it would come to this. What? Right, I have something I want to ask you. I think you have proven that the person inside this costume is not man in God. In that case, who is this a photo of? Who's the person wearing the Nickel Samurai costume? Don't stress out about this, Phoenix. It's very simple. What you should be focused on is Edgeworth's attitude, don't you think? Yeah. Why is he so calm?
Mr. Wright, let's hear your thoughts. Who is the person in this photograph? I think it's Adrian Andrews. Adrian Andrews?
Well, if you want to know who the Nickel Samurai is, it is none other than this woman. And why would you say it must be Miss Andrews? What in the world points you to her? Well, for starters, she's short. And she can freely move in and out of Mr. Ungard's room. Finally, she had dinner with Mr. Ungard that night.
And how does that all add up?
Well, it means that it makes it very easy for her to get a certain item. A certain knife with Mr. Ungard's fingerprints all over it.
Oh, the knife that was used as a murder weapon.
Why don't you just say what it is you want, right? I have to do this now. This is my last chance to turn things around. The defense moves to indict Miss Adrian Andrews in the murder of Juan Corrida. It was Miss Andrews who tried to frame the defendant for the crime.
Smack, smack, smack! Order! 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 It looks like this trial has hit a most unexpected development. Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honor.
This court is issuing a subpoena for Miss Adrian Andrews. A verdict cannot be passed without first hearing her testimony.
All right, this is it. This is kind of bad for us. Huh? Well, what do you mean? If Adrian Andrews is summoned to court as a witness, it means that the trial will go on for another day. One more day? Ah! If I don't get a verdict today, then Maya...
Smack! Well, now then, we will set Miss Andrews' testimony for tomorrow.
What am I supposed to do? The judge is about to adjourn the court!
No! Smack! Well, now then...
Please, Your Honor, continue the trial! You must pass a verdict today!
Well, I can't do that. We cannot hear Mr. Adrian Andrews...
I abhor wasting such a valuable time. Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request that you please continue with today's trial.
But we cannot continue due to this unexpected development.
This unexpected development? I think you underestimate me, Your Honor.
What do you mean by that?
That Mr. Phoenix Wright would slave his way to subpoenaing Miss Adrian Andrews is all happening according to plan, even if Wright was a bit slow to catch on. What? Wait, what?
Smack! God, what is going on? What is the meaning of your statement, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution's lobby. She is the next witness.
Oh, why'd you make me look like a fool?
Everything was planned out in advance by that man. Somehow, I knew there was no way Edgeworth would overlook Miss Andrews. Yes, Raccoon, you missed it. This whole case has been Edgeworth time! He's back, baby. He's back. That boy is back. Looks like this battle is far from over. Exactly.
Smack!
Yeah, you missed it. The kidnapper, Maya's kidnapper, had someone shoot Von Karma. So Von Karma's in the hospital. So because of that, Edgeworth had to come and take her place. It's fucking nuts. And as much as I don't like Von Karma, she doesn't deserve that. She don't deserve that. I mean, she kind of does, but kind of doesn't.
Right, well, we're calling the next witness. Well, so much for my pee break. However, before we proceed... Oh, wait, I'm gonna take my pee break. Please prepare your witness in that time, Mr. Edgeworth. The court will now take a pee break. I mean a 10-minute recess.
I was wondering if you were going to show up, Raccoon. I was like, Edgeworth's been in this whole trial. I was like, where's Raccoon? Where's Raccoon? She does. She's just a teenage girl who's just salty at everything. I didn't want her to get shot, though. Because the kidnapper's like, I sent you a little present. So he shot her. I'm like, that's not how I want to win either. That's not right. That's cheating. That's not how I get my verdicts. God damn. Order. I'll take 27 number 8's extra large, 42 number 3's with extra dip, 64 number 12's with extra chicken, 19 number 85's with extra Goomba meat, and an extra large soda.
Do you want an apple pie with that too?
Dude, I can't believe that Adrian, no way, not cool, and collected Adrian Andrews? But she is your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife that you used for dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony, during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button on your hakama. Because she was the one that came to wake me up? Then, dude, you're saying it was really her? Yes, she's the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Carita. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? But what are you talking about? Well, I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Give me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze. Okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix, you think her motive is related to Celeste Impact's missing note, suicide note? right? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impacts as her strength and reason to live. But then Miss Impact suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note, and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Corrida, the victim of this murder. And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Corrida. All to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible. But one thing bothers me. What? Well, who was it that first told us about the relationship? Better stated, Miss Andrews' dependency issues with regards to Miss Impacts. It was Edgeworth. Looks like he's still the one in command of this ship. Don't let your guard down yet. God damn it. God damn it, she right. Schmack! Good thing I took my pee break. Court will now reconvene. Okay, hang on 1 second, guys. Your Honor, 7 pizzas with extra cream. He's ordering more food! I asked if he wanted dessert, he ordered 7 more pizzas! Can I have a slice of this? Apple juice? Chicken leg piece? What are these words? The prosecution calls the witness subpoenaed by this court. Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Corrida's room. What is your occupation? I am the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Madden-Card. I see. Now then, before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yeah, sure. What is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to figure out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine recently. No, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossip Land. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Corrida. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan, but this was a private matter between Juan and myself. Oh, so it was a fry and bait matter, or was it bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. But I didn't kill him. No one is accusing you of that. I think there's someone who would beg to differ. Well, I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Sanders. Very well then, witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder that had taken place. It was time for the show to start, so I went to go get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room. And there was his dead body. I was in shock. What I saw was, naturally, the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. That's an odd thing to do. You poured yourself a glass of juice? Yes. Sadly, I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of a crime. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And that's when the fingerprints of the wine glass were made, Your Honor. Oh, I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix, she is one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yeah, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pacing. Disrupt her pacing? She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking. So you have to attack her when she least expects it. The instant you let up your offense, in this instant, the trial is over. Understand? Yes. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. And what was Mr. Uncard doing at the time? He was taking a nap. He was worn out from his mini performance as a nickel samurai during the ceremony. Mr. Angard did say he was taking a nap. Then I guess you could say it could not have been taken out of his room, yes? Excuse me? It? What are you? Right, I thought years of school have taught you how to construct a sentence. If you can't make a sensible sentence with a subject, then I'll make one for you. Watch. Did you, Miss Andrews, remove Mr. Angard's knife from his room? No. Subject, verb, object, right? Did you skip basic grammar? The witness may continue. Ow. After that, I went to Juan's room. And why did you do that? As a friendly gesture, Juan was to make an appearance with the other heroes. So the show was supposed to be a show of friendship, huh? I really don't want to get slapped for pressing. I should back off. As long as I don't have any proof, she's not going to talk. We will continue now, witness. What did you see when you got to his room? And there was his dead body. I was in shock. You were in shock. What? Was I not supposed to be? Mr. Andrews is a very calculating person, and despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Corrida. Anyone randomly stumbled upon a dead body would be in shock, and you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. Oh, I see. What I saw was, naturally, this exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. This is the photo you're referring to, correct? Yes, the one with the knife lodged in his chest. And the guitar case was like this too. Yes, it was open and empty, of course. And then, what did you do next, witness? I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Juice? Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table, so I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? Well, there were no lip marks made on those wine glasses just to suggest that anyone drank from it. I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Corrida, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself the glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank? Well, I didn't think that was possible for you! Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I had made one careless mistake. That one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What was she starting to say right now? No. What are we gonna say? What are we gonna say? Miss Andrews? I'm convinced that, as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry. It's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. Smack! Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? This mess of glass shards? It was originally on top of the dresser, but when I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess. Schmack! Looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. Okay, so... Hang on. It was the third one? 2, 3... Is this the one where I didn't press further? Okay, was it not that one? Is that the only reason? I beg your pardon. What are you implying? You had a certain goal in mind when you started to get close to him, correct? So perhaps you had more personal matter to discuss with the victim. Sorry, but I didn't have any such intentions in mind at the time. I can't get her to talk with a strong piece of evidence, I guess. Guess there was nothing there. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over. Where it fell on the guitar case. Korean chicken masala. Pearls can make it. God, I'm not reading that order again. Get at it! Just goes Gordon Ramsay on the court kitchen. Okay, Prawn, I'll see you later. And it's like, when did this trial become Iron Chef? Instead of Iron Chef, I'm trying to keep it at Nerves of Steel. Okay, if this right here is bullshit. If she knocked over the flower vase, the water was on top of the vase, right? Water was on top of the vase, but it was open. So if that were the case, if that were the guitar case, the water would be inside there. Fuck you. Get out of here. I will be back. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell into the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? Well, it's not some problem. It's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. However, if that were true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside and not the outside. Smack! Oh, that's very true. Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about this guitar case. What is that? Well, let's take another look at the crime scene photo. The remains of the vase, or vase, are scattered on the floor. And what's wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the glass shards should be inside and not the outside of the case. What is your point, Wright? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? No, think back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Oh, yeah, that's right. She did implicitly say that she did not touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found in the studio. It has no bearing in this case at all. Well, that may very well be. However, the empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case, does it? It does seem that there's no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? Make her testify. The empty guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but it is you. I can't believe I'm doing this either. Smack! Well, alright, I'll follow along. For now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honor. Had Chinese for dinner tonight. Luckily, I found my dog in the oven. Oh, womp womp. I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case. Oh my god. No. That right there's a contradiction. Because only Corita's fingerprints were on the case. So we've already busted this bitch. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. Bitch. No. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now that it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start with the cross-examination. Using anyway to change the topic, a convenient escape for a weak man. God, Edgeworth. Oh, God, damn. Put me on blast, son. Now the thing I need to know is, do I put it here, or do I put it here? This game's fucky like that. I'm gonna let me see. Was that because you were shocked and dazed after discovering the victim's body? Yes, that's probably it. I'm not gonna get anywhere if I continue pressing her like this. The only way to make her talk is with evidence. I guess just give it a try. I'm not gonna let. I just want to check. Just hang on. Oh, fuck it. I'm just gonna try. I'm just gonna try. High risk, high reward. Bam. There's no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? Well, it's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim. What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I were wearing gloves at the time? Gloves? But why would you be wearing gloves at the time? It was the night of the award ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, now I remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems your witness was wearing gloves. No! You stupid bitch! You were wearing gloves? Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something to prove? Yes, the fucking glass! Oh my god, we're going around circles here. I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Well, even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange? That you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? I like her reaction. Her glasses just break. Smack! Or smackaroni and cheese. Order it! I want some mac and cheese. Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here. But it's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty, though. But the guitar, the bright red guitar was at the studio. Phoenix, stop it. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, no, that's not either. Well, I would admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So, the witness was not wearing gloves despite the fact on the case? Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us all into its misguided... No, Your Honor. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I am sure that this guitar case has some relation to the murder. If you're so sure, Wright, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please, enlighten us as to why the guitar case has anything to do at all with this murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Let's suppose, for a second, that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case. Yeah, bright red guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean to suggest that it was a bright black guitar? So, you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty. Is that it, Wright? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours. You haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside the case at the time of the murder? It's a good question. Probably the knife? Is it the knife? And why would something like that be inside the guitar case, let alone this one?
Why, Mr. Wright, why?
Well, I just thought it might have been possible. I have a suggestion. Why don't you just put the void in where your brain's supposed to be?
Oh, no, ouch! Ow. Oh, can't a foolish fool get some love?
Do you still think you can prove your theory?
Yes, I can.
Give me a second.
Give me a second.
Well, maybe it was... No, she wouldn't bring the button there. Why would she open the case? 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 Wait, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Wait a second. The costume? She's leaving Juan's room here. For her to be able to leave the room with this costume on, she had to have entered the room with the costume. And she couldn't very well do that by wearing the costume. She had to sneak the costume in with something. Guitar case it be. It has to be.
This is your photograph.
Yes, but what's important is what's in the picture, Your Honor.
In this picture?
It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I'm proposing is... inside the guitar case was the Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume! What?
Smack! Mr. Wright, explain yourself!
Right. Are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would it be than doing something like that? Well, that insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Well, just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot, correct?
What? You mean this photo? Macaroni and cheese! Order! It looks like we wandered into quite yet another mess, haven't we?
Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later.
Huh. So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume.
Wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt and God's. Why would something of the defendant's be in the victim's room? And inside the guitar case of all places?
Ah, true. Oh, that is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was the Nickel Samurai's costume doing inside the guitar case?
It was a spare. Mr. On Guard did not take his costume off during the break period. That's right, he was wearing it when he was sleeping. In that case, the costume we were talking about was a spare one. What?
Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel?
Yes, that is what I'm saying.
What the? Well, and how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case?
It would mean that the victim himself had brought this spare to the ceremony on purpose.
But why? The victim, Mr. Kurita, was the Diamond Ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai spare costume with him? What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act?
Wait. The press conference. Matt had no idea about the press conference. Adrian had no idea about the press conference. If Juan was going to go on stage, dressed up as a Nickel Samurai, and confess something, this was all set up. This was all set up. And therein lies the sticking point. What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just...
Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the nickel samurai spare costume?
Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer. Yes, I think I got it. Alright, this is what I think. The reason was this. Bam!
What is this?
Yes, got it! On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference.
A press conference?
Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up right. But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Engard himself said that he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night.
But how can it be?
The way I see it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida himself.
The victim?
Yes. The spare nickel samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Corrida was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai!
Smack! What the? He was going to dress up as the Nickel Samurai and hold the power away. But why would the victim do such a thing?
Oh, that's something I don't quite know yet, Your Honor. However, what I'm concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at the conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Juan Corrida, posing as the Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt Engard.
Well, yes, I guess that's what it would mean.
But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's public disclosure. I'm used to Mr. Phoenix Wright. Now, Edgeworth's not saying right. It's weird now. I know, right? It plays on you.
But, Miss Andrews?
I can see why you're pros at what you do.
Pardon me?
Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by Juan.
What, Miss Andrews? Please offer us an explanation for this.
I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him, that was also me.
You?
Juan had bet everything on the Jammin' Ninja this year, and if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure that Matt was going down with him. And that's what he thought anyway.
He was going to ruin him? Huh.
It looked like somehow Juan had his hands on a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What?
Smack, smack, smack! And do you know what the secret of Mr. Engard is, Miss Andrews?
That's something only Juan knew. I don't know what it is.
Ah, I see.
I've probably been coming off quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt, after all. Protect Mr. Engard?
Smack! And yet again, another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behavior.
Yes, Your Honor. I understand.
Do ya? Do ya?
From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Matt had to kill Juan no matter what, and he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt I had to protect him.
This does account for everything.
Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She is more nervous than a scared rabbit.
If the defense can find no fault with the testimony, I am ready to make a ruling. Please keep that in mind as you cross-examine Mr. Wright.
Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this and turn her logic upside down. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. Would you say that that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. Ow! If you want to prove that someone did something, you need three things. Three things? A motive, an opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. If you think that those three things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix. Okay, they didn't teach that to us in school, at least not from what I remember. May I continue now? Matt had to kill Juan no matter what. So, would you say this need came from the press conference? Yes. Do you know why Juan chose that event and the hotel for the conference? Because that's when he could cause the most damage to the public's beloved Matt and Guard.
And you knew this plan, didn't you, Mr. Andrews?
Yes, because I was the one who set up the conference and prepared the costume. But I'm sure Mr. Guard himself didn't know anything about the press conference. Oh, really? Can you show me any proof that he didn't know about the press conference? Anyway, the important thing here is that the information was not in your testimony.
Yes, I agree, Miss Andrews. Please correct your testimony, if you please.
Grasping at straws now, are we, Mr. Wright? I know what his motive was, but I don't have any way to prove I'm right. Has Mr. Angard done something to hurt or betray you, personally? Why do you ask? Well, you were the one who helped Mr. Kurita with his press conference, and that event was supposed to bring down Mr. Angard, yet you still helped him out? The person on trial right now is Mr. Angard, right? What the witness was thinking, helping the victim with this plan, is none of our concern. In any case, this means that the defendant had a motive to kill. Why do I keep doing this to myself? And he didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. But didn't you already testify earlier that Mr. Angard was oh my god, no, taking a nap in his room? Are you telling me now that that too was a lie so you could cover for Mr. Angard? I'm not telling you anything of the sort. When I went to get him for the show, he honestly was sleeping. However, as to whether he was sleeping the entire time, that I cannot say. I was too busy setting up the stage at the time.
I keep trying, but I can find no flaws with what Miss Andrews said. I can't say the same thing for the people in this courtroom, however.
The judge is glaring straight at Mia.
He's glaring at you, smart guy.
My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. You could hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and his murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the gem in his costume.
Oh, you're talking about this button, correct?
That button was found on the pleats of Matt's Hakama, isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence.
Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright.
Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Oh, thank goodness Mia can still look at me. With an icy stare, yes.
Smart. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony.
Okay. Let's just press these two. And how do you know that? When the ends of the threads on the button and the costume were matched up, they were found to fit perfectly together, or so I heard. I've heard that before too. But why would Miss Andrews know about this case down to such a fine detail? Don't look at me like that just because I'm prepared and you're not. And I thought I had her this time for sure. If there's anything to trip her up with, it has to be here. But where and what? But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt I had to protect him. But what you really did was just stab the guy in the back, didn't you? And at the worst possible time. Who's to say she really stabbed the guy in the back, as you put it? Well, this witness could have disclosed things about Mr. Guard at any time. Why then would she wait until there was a large audience before doing so? It's the same reason why Mr. Kurita planned such an elaborate conference. Miss Andrews wanted to cause Mr. Angard as much damage as she could possibly could. That's a lot of damage. This witness bears ill will towards the defendant. Welcome back, Prana. This isn't the Phoenix Wright Wax Philosophical Power Hour. And please, stop slandering the witness. As I expected, Miss Andrews' testimony seems pretty solid. Really? Because to me, it sounded a little wishy-washy. Wishy-washy? Well, I guess we'll see if I press a little more. You should know this by now, but you'll need strong, decisive evidence to make her talk. Got it, Chief. I'm gonna pin you down this time, Miss Andrews. Oh, I'm coming. Oh, Phoenix gonna get you with that Kodak kiss. Phoenix said there was something here. The button was torn off of one during his fight with Matt. Yeah, he was strangled with a scarf during the fight. If that were the case, there would be no blood on there. Objection! This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by scarf. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Well, let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it, which would mean that it was ripped off the costume when? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly. Which means it is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle, because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way that this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off the victim's already dead body.
Smack! Order! What does it mean?
What is the meaning of this, Wright? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Well, let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did it serve? What purpose? We now know this button was not torn off during the fight, so the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it?
Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer was trying to do with the button? What was it?
To pin the crime on a guard. There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. Ungard. There's no way anyone would have put a bloody button in their own pants. That's right. Mr. Ungard was set up by the real killer, of course.
Smack! And the real murderer is? What, Mr. Wright? Who in the world is the real killer, then?
Finally. I can't believe I managed to bring the trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end. The real killer. The person who planned to frame Mr. Ungard. The person who framed. God, that penalty be looking thick. The thick penalty. I want to pin it on Adrian again. It seems right. There's no one else I can blame. Goddamn. Just let me do this. Miss Adrian Andrews, come on, guys. This is what I've been saying for the last hour. I choose you. You are Mr. Cornelius Killer. What? glasses smash.
Smack! Smack, smack! Order! Order! God damn it, Mr. Wright! This is a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge?
Any evidence? All of the evidence points towards Miss Andrews. But how preposterous. You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then, what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he had already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. Engard. Naturally, a knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room, and the only person who had dinner with him and knew which knife to take was you. Then, what about the button that was found on Matsukama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so were the person who found his body or the killer. However, if Mr. Engard was the real killer, there is no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Engard's Hakama is the person that went to wake him from his nap, which is you, yet again, Miss Andrews.
I see. What about the empty guitar case?
That is another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was such a costume inside the guitar case? It could only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found in the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time.
That's right.
Well, that's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, well, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposely left her fingerprints on the glass to show that, yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. And to top it all off, there in this photo, a photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe that this nickel samurai is Mr. Engard. He wouldn't be butts too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're also kind of short in stature, are you not? Please, stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got it this time.
Miss Andrews?
I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me.
Yes. You are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves.
What? Pleading the fifth is not something that most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Engard's room. Adrian Andrews. I couldn't, man, there's not any plans to do a Mario Maker 2 stream anytime soon because I need to find a way to be able to stream from my Switch. And that takes special hardware, which I need to save up money for, which is really hard for me to do right now. But I will remember that. I will try, but I don't know. Yeah, I have no way of streaming my Switch, so that's not going to happen anytime soon. I don't have Mario Maker 2 either. My brother does. I can borrow from him, but I still have no way to stream it. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed. Understood? Oh, but Karma told her about it. That's it. That's when Francisca planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things look bad. You did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. But there's still one thing you haven't done. Something I haven't done? Oh no, I have hiccups. What's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence. What? A show of humor, Miss Edgeworth? I'm sure you realize this as well, Your Honor. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. But what? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to prove a single piece with definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbor a wish to murder Mr. Corrida.
Smack, smack, smack! Miss Andrews,
Did you want to kill Mr. Corrida? I believe this may lead me to incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering.
But, Miss Andrews, if you do that, that would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think?
Maybe so, or maybe not. There's nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No. Oh, she's taking that defiant attitude again. Ooh. Mia, what should we do? Somehow we've landed in the worst possible situation.
Smack! I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify. And the defense's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully sustained with solid definitive proof. But that's not true. In this situation, there's only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess.
Recess?
I request that both the prosecution and defense look further into this matter, and that tomorrow's trial...
Tomorrow? We don't have a tomorrow. If we don't get a not guilty verdict today, then... Please, wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial. Please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the guilt verdict, then Maya...
Smack! But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is...
It is not impossible for this trial to continue.
Mr. Edgeworth? What are you...
It's true, Miss Andrews holds the right to self-incrimination, against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation were something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony.
Well, yes, that's very true, but...
Actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and... Well, I can't help but think about how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they're shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want you to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request the witness testify again as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. Well, he just bought us some time, and when Phoenix said Maya, Edgeworth got that little ding. Edgeworth figured something's wrong. Edgeworth knows. Edgeworth's helping us, because Edgeworth's best boy.
The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please.
That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, I thought that the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. Yes, I thought that he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice. When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. Flower vase? What's this? Looking to fan art Edgeworth with biceps. It's me with biceps and old bag. Falls the first out crying in the fetal position.
Right, so you poured the glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony?
I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. I know. Edgeworth, what the hell is going on in that brain of yours?
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
When you found that body, bitch. That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. But there wasn't anyone else in the room, right? Of course not.
Then who did you pour it for?
Mr. Wright, there's a rhyme and a reason to everything. Can you just wait a little longer for it to be revealed to you? In other words, Wright, be quiet and listen. Precisely. I couldn't have said it better myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in the messy state. So, it was a mess.
Are you sure it wasn't messy because of your fight with Mr. Corrida?
I understand your frustrations at not being able to prove your theory. However, before you go accusing people of crimes, go find yourself some evidence.
Ugh.
And then, what did you see next, witness? And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner.
Slumped over?
Yes, he was just sitting there with his head tilted forward, eyes closed. He really looked like he was sleeping.
Is it just me, or did that right there sound a little odd?
When I saw him sitting like that, though, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. Then what did cross your mind? I thought that maybe he had smashed up everything in anger because he lost the Grand Prix. And then he felt tired after his rampage, so he decided to take a nap. Anyways, that's what I thought.
I see. So you didn't think that he was dead at all?
To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something, so I went to pour him some juice.
You thought he fainted?
I thought he was asleep at first. But then, the room was in such a messy state, I thought that maybe he had gotten into a fight with someone. And that's when you went to pour the glass of juice. Yes, he always has a hard time waking up, so Juan always has a glass of tomato juice to drink.
I see. And after that, what happened next?
When I realized that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over.
And how did you come to realize that he was in fact dead?
I shook him over and over, but I never got a response. So I set the glass down on the dresser and tried to take his pulse. I was shocked and staggered backwards.
And knocked the flower vase over. Is that what happened?
Yes. This is what it all comes down to.
Huh?
This is the absolute end for both sides, and Adrian is letting her guard down. Phoenix, now's her best chance yet to kill the prosecution's case.
Isn't that a bit harsh?
Miss Andrews, will you tell us the truth this time?
Okay, right here is when Phoenix was like, oh yeah, and also, if she had walked into the scene, you thought he was sleeping? Like, really? Sitting there all bloody with a knife sticking out of his chest? You stupid bitch.
So you honestly didn't think that he was dead when you found him?
No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body. Where's the meaning of this?
Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There is a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Cordia's chest.
Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought that there was a dead man.
Well, you see,
I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted, and then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink. Your point is, Miss Andrews, your testimony just now, it was all one giant lie. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly, that you are the real killer. Well, it looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Manengard, is not guilty after all.
But that's impossible. You're wrong.
Miss Andrews, please try to have some composure.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt. It was Matt, I swear. He's the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who refused to testify. And your reason for not doing so was that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because... Mr. Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. Smack! Well then, there's no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Manengard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. It's over? Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Schmack! Well then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Manengard. Objection! Oh God. Your Honor, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time. What? The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute, real truth. Schmack! 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 The absolute, real truth? She hasn't spoken the gospel truth, Your Honor. Like in Hercules. With this, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Manengard will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke, then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it. I'm too scared. It's Franziska von Karma. Huh? Don't you remember, Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another. Because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then right now, Miss Andrews is... Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Manengard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now, and is clinging to them. Then what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we can do now is get her not guilty. That is my only priority. It wasn't me. I'm begging you, please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help. Please, someone help me. Smack! Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. The court can't continue on like this, therefore I'd like to hear what you intend to do. What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Right. I suggest you think very carefully on this. Think about what this witness did and what she did not do. And think about who it is the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the woman crying right over there, right? Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you're really hiding. Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing? Sure. Mr. Angard would get an acquittal, but in his place, you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? But be quiet. How dare you? You're trying to trick me. Schmack! That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense's theory is the truth. You're wrong. What's a shame? I had hoped things wouldn't come to this. However,
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court.
Stop. Mr. Edgeworth?
This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness.
What?
And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past.
Stop. Please stop.
No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here.
That's
the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What we do now with this? You know what I'm about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of this pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her dependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world.
Please stop. I beg you. If people find out, I'll...
If you're going to say you would choose death, then that's of no concern to me. Damn, Edgeworth. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your still breathing lips. No matter what I have to do. Damn, Edgeworth. So, will you tell the court yourself, or shall I? Either is fine with me. Got her. Damn.
I'll talk, but please, help me.
Nothing matters anymore.
When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. When I realized he was dead, that's when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room, and then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the butt. Just when I finished and was running to Matt's room, I had a bit of inconvenience, and that's why I ended up using the nickel samurai costume.
Stabbed a body with a knife? Why would you do that?
Isn't it obvious? To pin the blame on a certain person.
A certain cowardly man.
What do you mean by all of this?
It might take this court a little while to understand, but this is the truth.
The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again. Just like last time.
Last time?
So, Miss Andrews stabbed the victim, Juan Corrida, in the chest with a knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt and God for the murder. And this is her crime. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer?
Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination.
But what the... Piranha Plant, Pearl can't react if Pearl is Mia. Pearl didn't see it.
Just be like, Mr. Edwards, please compose yourself and stop crying before like a little baby.
Mia be like, looks like you got him, Phoenix. And Pearls can't say anything because Pearl's channeling Mia right now. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted, honest. But you could tell from the state the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say that you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck, but that scarf is part of the Jammin' Ninja's costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up and went to pour the juice. When I realized he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. What is this plan you had? I knew right away that the murderer was Matt. I knew because Juan, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point in the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt. So the forged evidence, pieces of evidence, were the knife and the button. The
first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a mad dash to Matt's room. And that was so you could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes towards him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I slipped in, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. And then I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife and ripped off the button. So you were the one to stab the victim with the knife. It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But at the time, I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realized something. If I use the button somehow, I can make Matt look even more suspect. So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. God's hammer. Yes, that's what I had planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the nickel samurai costume. I don't want to concede, but this testimony, it rings of the truth. I'm sorry, Phoenix. Oh, I didn't get to press that last one. I didn't get to press that last one. Wait, which one did I press before? This, the inconvenience. An inconvenience. There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta. There was also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth. Oh, that's Miss Allbeck for you. I had already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony. You did this in preparation of the press conference, correct? Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there.
And what is your secret?
That I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume.
I think we've heard enough. So after that, you went back to Mr. Angard's room and planted the button?
Into Matt's Akama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it.
My word, what does all this mean?
Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Angard. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Franziska, huh? She said that I should, under no circumstances, confess to what I have done. That if I just keep quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words.
Smack! What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer. Wait, Your Honor. The defense still...
Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything.
Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. Smack! The cross-examination of this witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright. But... Now, Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning.
Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for a detention immediately.
That is all. Court is adjourned for today.
No! Today's trial, it's over. And I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I ask you something? Edgeworth? What is it? Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. That card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now. Uh, what exactly is it? Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked about this. Although I didn't remember at the time you asked me about it, Mr. Wright. I remember just now. I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day. Yes. I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there right next to him. You found that card? Next to the victim's body? I suppose I must have been unconsciously slipped into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not, but it's still a strange card, if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why... Witness that card! Give it to me! Hurry! Edgeworth! Do you have any idea what you've stupidly yet inadvertently done? I can't believe you hid this from me all this time!
I didn't mean to.
What is this all about? I've never seen Edgeworth so emotional before. That card. What in the world is it? And what does it mean? Oh no, to be continued. And yes, I'm gonna stop the stream here. I know it's like the worst possible time to start it. But I've been playing for a while and I'm fucking hungry. I need to go eat. And then I'm gonna stream again later, but it's gonna be Layers of Fear. So Phoenix Wright, I'll try to play more tomorrow. Phoenix's reaction. Phoenix has been like, yeah, I don't blame Edgeworth. I'd be crying on the floor too. So that's it for the Phoenix Wright stream. It's so good. This case is so good. And what's going to happen to Maya? We don't know. Leaving it in suspense. I hate to be that guy, but I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go eat. I will stream a bit later. It'll be spoopy time. So I hope you'll join me for Layers of Fear. And I'll talk to you guys in like half an hour or so. All right? See ya. But if Pearl could, Pearl will be like, there, Mr. Edgeworth. It's okay. She'll pat him on the back. And that's that. See you guys.